We were remote working. I mean, that's something people talk about now. We work from home. But 15 years ago, that was really revolutionary. The evolution of our program has had a few different phases and seasons over the 15 years, but the why has always been the same. That idea of having a really transformative impact on people's lives. And the world needs different kinds of business leaders and thinkers who are going to be innovative, who are going to question things, who are going to come up with new ways, because we have very big problems that do need to be solved.
The Founders Series brings together the stories of some of the people that founded the business as we see it today. And one of those people is Tracy Kraus.
Control Alt Succeed.
Control Alt Succeed is proudly brought to you by Milpark Education, redefining what online learning sounds like. Visit milpark.ac.za for more information.
Here to tell us a little bit of her story as a founder, a co-founder of CA Connect, is Tracy Kraus. And Tracy, just to get to know a little bit more about, your heart and head around founders and the journey, who are those people across the globe and across walks of life that you look up to?
Sure. Yeah, I'm always interested in other people's stories and how it actually happens for them, whatever field they're in. I remember quite young reading Richard Branson's autobiography, Losing My Virginity, and being just amazed at his story and the ups and downs and how things, the struggles that they overcame in launching Virgin. I know she's not technically a founder, but I've also really been interested in Sheryl Sandberg's work and like what she's put out from Facebook, being a female in a very entrepreneurial space and high pressured space, and how she's kind of managed that. Those are two that stand out to me immediately.
What has this particular journey been for you if you had to summarize it?
Sure. Yeah, so it's a 15 years in so far for me. Fun fact, I got married in the December and I started with CA Connect in the January. So my marriage and my relationship with the guys at work have run in parallel for 15 years. Yeah. The very first photograph that I have of the five of us was taken at my wedding. So I think if I look back on that journey, it's about the teamwork. It's about learning so much from these amazing humans who I got the privilege to work with and to do go on this incredible adventure with. We've learned a lot of lessons. We've all grown. We've all kind of shaped each other and gotten to know who we can rely on certain aspects, who's good at what, and how we as a team are balanced and can offer a full package. And I think that's quite powerful when you face a challenge that maybe is a bit overwhelming or feels like it's like an existential crisis. There are a few of those along the way. Like someone like Ron just rises up with ideas and like, how are we going to overcome this? And whereas I just want to go into grieve mode. So it's been great to walk this journey. And I think for me, it's mostly about the people. Sure. Those, the four other founders, and then also the other people that have walked the journey with us. Obviously, our students are a huge part of what we've done and the real motivating reason for what we've done. If I can tell you, I joined the team after 1 year of its existence, and I'd had a coffee with Andrew and Gareth, who approached me and asked me to join this small team. And I remember that day very clearly, and they spoke to me about creating an offering that would serve students who the traditional system had kind of excluded or cut out or not catered for. And that idea of having a really transformative impact on people's lives, that it's not just a once-off thing. It really changes the trajectory of their whole lives. That was super exciting to me. And I remember saying to them then, give me something to sign and I'm in. Yeah. They gave me a 1-year contract. I'm still here 15 years later.
15 years later.
But yeah, it was about doing something with purpose and with meaning, with really great people. Yeah.
If you look at your why, Tracy, at the beginning of the journey, and your why now, has there been any changes?
Not for me.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I think.
Why?
the evolution of our program has had a few different kind of phases and seasons over the 15 years, but the why has always been the same, that coffee with Andrew and Gareth talking about what we're doing and serving students and really creating a path that didn't exist before for people to get access to become chartered accountants. Graduation is still the highlight of the year for me, because we work remotely and we work online, and so it's such a unique opportunity to see an embodied representation of the work that we're doing and the lives that we're changing, and the family members are there and the celebration. That's like my favorite. So for me, the why has remained the same. We want to make a difference. We want to serve society and create opportunities that were closed off to students previously.
We've spoken a lot, Tracy, about accountants and how they are think within the box kind of people. You've been on this journey. You've excelled both as, a chartered accountant as well as an entrepreneur. How did you manage that balance, and how did the collision of those two worlds actually affect and impact your understanding of both?
Yeah, so I think of the five of us, I'm probably the least entrepreneurial, if I'm very honest. Like, I think I'm the least given to it, but I also bring balance to the team because of that. But I think it has been wonderful to learn how to think creatively about solving problems. I grew up in an environment where, there was very clear rules and delineation. And I think obviously our training as chartered accountants kind of tends to reinforce that. But then to spend time with people who would question that and say, I would think, well, you can't change that. And the question would be, but why? I'm like, oh, maybe we can. And if we can, then these are all the possibilities that open up. So it certainly has been a thing of, learning to explore other ways of approaching problems, other ways of solving things. I would say that's one of the main takeaways I've had from the journey is growing in that space, because I don't think I was naturally given to it, if I'm really honest. I was willing to trust the people, and it was small steps at a time. The whole journey we didn't know what the whole journey was going to be at the beginning, of course. And there were years where we didn't know if we'd be operating the next year. But you take it one step at a time, and then you look back and you are amazed at what you've accomplished. Chartered accountants have a bit of a rough stereotype. I'm glad that we can challenge that. And also just be role models for our students. So there's a different way of being in the world, and the world needs different kinds of business leaders and thinkers who are going to be innovative, who are going to question things, who are going to come up with new ways, because we have very big problems that do need to be solved. But actually, they can be solved if we apply our minds.
You know what they say, that culture eats strategy for breakfast. I don't know. Sometimes it's breakfast, sometimes it's lunch, What has been your experience as a founder within the team?
Sure, it's been really great for me to feel always like, even though I joined a little bit later, even though I was the only female in the team, to feel like my ideas have always been welcome, have always been considered and weighed. Sometimes I've had to defend them strongly.
Okay.
But we had vigorous debate. It wasn't just a yes culture. And I think that was really healthy, that we would interrogate and make sure that we were all aligned on a way forward on any ideas. And so, it's definitely been an experience, not just with the initial team, but as we've grown, that we want everyone to feel like they can bring their ideas to the fore. Like, even if you're an intern with us, an academic trainee, someone considered fairly junior, that actually you've just come out of our program and you might have valuable insights and perspective that we've lost because we've been on this side for so long, and we need you to share with us. And that when everyone contributes and communicates openly and shares their perspectives and ideas, it makes the team richer, it makes us better. When there are, tricky things or relational dynamics that are challenging, I prefer as a leader to just, let's talk about it together. Let's not hide it and it becomes like a thing that you don't talk about, but let's rather have an open conversation and talk about it and share how we feel and get on the same page. And that very much comes from the way that the founders operated as a team. There was nothing that was untouchable or that we couldn't talk about.
Yeah, what sustained you, Tracy? You know, I look at various journeys of founders and teams, and it is uncommon for a team, you know, to
Yeah.
have this much staying power.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's kept us together for so long. I think we are all deeply committed to the vision. We have been successful in what we set out to do. And for that, I'm not convinced we can take all of the credit. You'll get different answers from different members of the team. But I do believe that the Lord has been on our side and has opened doors and given us favor, and that we've had moments of provision and grace when things could have gone either way. And I'm very thankful for that. I'm very cognizant of that. For me, it's been more than a job. It's been a calling and a vocation. And in terms of building that culture, I have to give credit where credit is due, and say that Ron and Leon have done a lot to make sure we don't take ourselves too seriously, and just like making jokes when like things are intense, and like even if there's a little like moment, like just to crack a joke to like ease the tension, and like, okay, yes, let's remember who we are. And Ron has done a lot we have a thing called Shenanigans, which is where the team plays games. I mean, crazy things that, you think about the stereotypical chartered accountant. Shenanigans is like wildly different to that. I've got pictures of Andrew with a Woolies bag over his head,
Not
trying to do
Andrew.
Pictionary draw, crazy stuff. We've, I don't know, done all sorts of physical challenges. We've done painting, we've done Lego, we've done balloons, we've done races, all sorts of different general knowledge, 30 seconds, the whole shebang. But those kinds of fun moments just to help you connect and bond and have true relationship. We've hung out, with our partners, with our families to get to know each other in context, gone away on holidays together. We had a very memorable trip to Spain once, which was the big highlight. But those kinds of memories are where you really do learn to have each other's back, know each other on a deeper level. And there's a commitment beyond just we work together in that space. When you get to know each other as friends, as people that you value. And I think that's carried us far. I mean, I think a team of 5 is pretty big for founding. Like, I think often it's pairs that are quite successful. So we're quite unusual, but it's worked well for us.
The motivation for an athlete, is that middle. What would the motivation for an entrepreneur be?
Well, as I say, I'm not the most entrepreneurial of us. I think there's a perception that a lot of entrepreneurs are motivated by financial gain. But I think that will lead you down the wrong path if that's your primary motivation, because you'll make decisions to make money rather than the right decisions for your startup or your idea or whatever it is. So I think it has to go deeper than that. For me, as I've communicated, like it's about the people, it's about making a lasting change. But I do think that any entrepreneur needs to be clear on their why, because if you're not clear on your why, then it will be easy to throw in the towel when things get really hard. And it's difficult to know when you need to pivot and when you need to push through. And I think that does take a team of trusted advisors around you, whether those are co-founders or just mentors, people you respect who can guide you with some experience, because you do gain a lot of experience and you gain a sense of, can I salvage this or not? But I think it's important to be clear on what your why is.
Tracy, the uniqueness of your story, not just the fact that you crossed into a unique environment 15 years ago where nobody wanted to work online. No boss would allow any employee to work from home. Kind of thing. It's not just that, but it's also the fact that you walked into an all-male team in a male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
And you made it work. What's your superpower?
My superpower. What is my superpower? I don't know. Managing to do that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was great. We were remote working. I mean, that's something people talk about now. We work from home. But 15 years ago, that was really revolutionary. I remember people used to think that when I said I work from home, what they heard was I work part-time.
Or you don't work.
Or I don't work, yeah. And they used to think that, if you work from home, you're just like in your pajamas all day and you never do any work. What I've come to realize is that if you are passionate about your work and you're motivated, working from home, actually the challenge is to stop working because it's just always there. But yeah, coming in as the only female was a challenge. I was kind of expecting to be treated differently or as a subordinate when I joined. And it took me some time to accept that that's not how I was being treated, that I was treated as an equal, that my opinion was as valuable as anybody else's. It's been incredible to learn from the guys and to also help make my contribution. I've been very involved with recruitment, for instance, and who we add to the team and how we protect that culture and making sure that people are aligned with our values, with our vision, and are able to join and make us better. Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on the superpower, though.
No, I think that is actually a superpower. It is indeed a superpower. And how have you been able to balance your various responsibilities? I mean, there was a time when you were an academic, you were working, you were also expecting, I think, your second child.
Yes.
And you were studying.
Yes.
And now I know that you were also a founder with very significant founding duties. How have you been able to manage the balance?
I don't know. I've just kind of done it.
Yeah.
I mean, I must say I really have to I'm very thankful to my husband. He's been a wonderful partner with me. He's also been a sounding board and a processing partner on this journey. I think for me, I've just trying to take it one step at a time. The season where I did my master's and had small children / was pregnant and it was COVID, was particularly challenging. But I think it was so valuable for me because, as I mentioned the last time we spoke, it gave me a lot of empathy for our students and the multiple responsibilities that many of our students are balancing while they're doing our program. And I think it made me better as a leader and as an academic as a result. I don't think that there's really any secret. I think the most important thing, and if I was to give anyone advice, would be just recognize you actually can't do everything. So you got to pick the most important things and really commit to those. And this journey, this work has always been a big part of my life and a big part of what is important to me. And that's required me to maybe not do other things or make space in other areas. But I have no regrets. I feel so honored to have walked this journey.
And finally, many young women have, opportunities made available to them. And thank you, by the way, to women like yourself who've charted that ground. What would you say to them, especially the ones that are dreaming, the ones that are looking forward to being pioneers in their own industry?
I would encourage those who are interested in trying something risky to do so as young as you can.
That sounded very seasoned.
Like if you want to do it, go for it. I think as I get older, I realize that a lot of people live with regrets, and you regret the things you didn't do more than the things you did do. And so for particularly for women, probably because we have other factors that come into our lives. But I would encourage young people just to take the risks that you want to take. Try things early. Like get experience early. Like if you're interested in something, investigate it early. Don't feel like you have to map out your life at 18. Like take some time to kind of work out what it is you're good at and where you want to really plant yourself. Because when you do make those big decisions that come to define your life, around, what it is you're going to study, who it is you're going to marry, whether or not to have children, all of those things. Those are wonderful things that can enrich your life, but they also are a saying of no to other options. talk about opportunity cost in accounting. Saying yes to something is saying no to other things. And I think when you're young, you have a lot of opportunity to say yes to lots of stuff. And you have the energy for it and the time. And so just to embrace that with both arms and give it all you've got. And you might bump your head or scrape your knee along the way. The narrative around that is, oh, that's good. That's a lesson learned. I can move forward. So I would really encourage people just to embrace things as early as they can, to step out of their comfort zones. And if they can, to find a team to work with, people that they trust. Whether, like I had the opportunity to work with the guys, and that was really meaningful for me. But you can also have friends or mentors or others in your life who are walking that journey with you. But being alone, I know, all the iconic entrepreneurs are these like wild mavericks who do everything alone. But I think in this day and age, doing things in team is more healthy and more balanced and often more successful.
Sure. Saying yes to some things is certainly saying no to others. And these are the words of Tracy Kraus, who is co-founder of CA Connect. And this is where we leave it. I am Ayanda, your host, and this is Control Alt Succeed. Keep learning and stay curious.
Control Alt Succeed.
Control Alt Succeed is proudly brought to you by Milpark Education, redefining what online learning sounds like. Visit milpark.ac.za for more information.